We built our city on starlight. We crafted a home from spun photons and hardened light. It drifts upon the solar winds, a ghost of impossible engineering. Our sails are vast, measured in kilometers. They are thinner than memory, yet stronger than steel. They catch the breath of suns to push us through the great dark. Our city is named Ethel. It is a promise made real. We move between worlds without burning a single drop of fuel. We are a silent vessel sailing an ocean of silent fire. Below our feet, the city hums with life. Gardens bloom under simulated suns. Children laugh in parks, woven from light and gravity. This is our home, a place born from the impossible. We are a testament to survival. We are a testament to hope. Every street, every spire, every glowing window is part of the dream. We left our old ways behind. We embrace the star-born path. We are voyagers, explorers, and builders. We are forever bound to the light. Our journey is endless. Our destination is always forward. We carry the legacy of a star that died. We are its final, living children. We whisper its name to new suns. We ensure it is never forgotten. This is our purpose. This is our life on the solar wind. We are the children of a drowned star. Our home world is a story told to frighten the young. It was a paradise orbiting a generous sun. For 1,000 generations, we knew only peace. We grew complacent. We forgot the power sleeping at the heart of our system. Our star science became a matter of history, not survival. Then came the trembling. Our sun grew sick. It shuddered and changed color. The elders spoke of ancient cycles. They promised a return to normalcy. They were wrong. The star was not sick. It was dying. It was collapsing under its own great weight. It was preparing to take us with it. Our exodus was a frantic, desperate act. We did not have generations to plan. We had mere decades. We built this city, our Ethel, in a frenzy of creation. We poured all our knowledge, our resources, our very souls into it. We launched just as our sun took its final, shuddering breath. We saw our star drown in its own light. We escaped into the dark. We watched our sun flicker and die behind us. The shock wave of its passing pushed our new sails. It gave us our first taste of true speed. We made a promise then. A vow burned into the heart of our new culture. We would never be trapped again. We would never again put our faith in a single, stationary light. We would always be moving. That is why we sail. That is why we are always vigilant. The memory of our drowned star is our compass. It is the ghost that pushes us onward. We do not fear the darkness between suns. We fear the stillness. We fear the day we stop moving. We are defined not by where we are from. We are defined by our journey away from it. For generations, the voyage was peaceful. We listened to the song of the cosmos. Every star, every nebula, has its own voice, a unique signature of radiation and light. We chart these songs. They form our maps of the void. Our navigators know the chorus of our galaxy by heart. It is a symphony of unending, predictable light. Until today, a silence appeared in the solar song. It was not a gap between stars. It was not a dead zone we had charted before. This was something new, a patch of absolute nothing. It appeared on our long-range sensors, a place where a familiar pulsar should be singing its rhythmic beat. The bridge of the Ethel grew quiet. Navigators checked their instruments. They ran diagnostics, convinced of a malfunction. The system always worked. It was as reliable as the passage of time itself. But every diagnostic came back clean. The instruments were perfect. The silence was real. A veteran navigator, a woman named Ilara, was the first to speak. Her voice was low and steady. "The signal is not gone," she said. It is being consumed. The idea was absurd. Light is not eaten. It travels until it hits something. Nothing simply consumes it from a distance. That would break a dozen laws of star science. Yet the data was undeniable. We watched the edge of the silence. We saw the light of a nearby star bend toward it. Then the light simply vanished. Not blocked, not reflected. It just ended. A whisper of emptiness had entered the cosmic song. It was a note of profound and impossible dread. We changed course. We had to see. We had to understand. We approached the coordinates of the silence. Caution was our guiding principle. We furled our main sails, running on stored energy. The city's external lights were dimmed. We became a ghost of a ghost, creeping through the void. The silence grew on our sensors. It was larger than we had thought. It covered a volume of space that could swallow a small moon. We sent a probe ahead, a simple thing designed for observation. It carried a dozen different sensors. It broadcast its findings back to us in real time. The probe crossed the invisible boundary. Its data stream became a torrent of nonsense. Temperature readings plunged to absolute zero. Radiation sensors flatlined. The camera feed showed only perfect, featureless black. Then the probe itself vanished. One moment, it was a signal on our screens. The next, it was gone. Not an explosion, not a loss of power. The signal just stopped, as if it had never existed. The silence on the bridge returned. This time, it was laced with a chilling new understanding. Whatever this was, it was not a natural event. From the heart of the silence, something moved. It did not appear on our scopes. It did not reflect light or emit energy. We saw it only as a distortion, a ripple in the fabric of space itself. It was a shape moving against the backdrop of distant stars, a predator hiding in plain sight. It was coming for us. They are not made of metal or flesh. They are not beings in any sense we understand. They are a storm in the void, a rolling, shifting cloud of pure negation, a hunger that eats light. We saw it as it drew closer, a patch of darkness that was darker than space. It blotted out the stars behind it. Panic was a cold spark on the bridge. Captain Vorlin gave the order. Bring the city lights to full power. All exterior emitters, maximum intensity. His logic was sound. If this thing consumed light, perhaps a flood of it would overload it, or at least reveal its true form. We had always found safety in the light. It was the core of our philosophy. The ethel bloomed like a newborn star. Powerful beams shot from our spires. The city became a beacon of defiance in the oppressive dark. For a moment, it worked. The entity, the void storm, seemed to recoil. Its leading edge shimmered. It hesitated. We saw its form then, just for a second. A vast, swirling shape. Something like a storm cloud, but made of living shadow. Then it adapted. The light did not stop it. It drew it in. The creature seemed to feed on our illumination. The beams of light from our city bent. They curved into the swirling darkness, vanishing into its core. The void storm grew larger. It grew faster. Our display of power was not a weapon. It was a meal. We were ringing the dinner bell. "Cut the lights," Vorlin commanded. His voice was strained. The city plunged back into defensive twilight. We were left to watch the monster approach. It moved with a slow, deliberate certainty. It knew we were here. It knew we were trapped. We had left our home to escape a dying star. We had found a living darkness instead. Our city was built for the rigors of space. We had shields against radiation. We had point defense systems to vaporize asteroids. Our sails could withstand the flare of an angry sun. We were prepared for every known hazard of the void. We were not prepared for this. The void storm was not rock or plasma or radiation. It was something else entirely. It reached our outer sail. There was no impact, no sound of collision. The edge of the great light sail simply dissolved. The material, a crystalline lattice of unparalleled strength, vanished. It did not tear. It did not burn. It ceased to be. A silent, creeping cold spread across its surface. Alarms blared through the city, not the sharp cry of a hull breach. This was a new alarm, one our engineers had designed for impossible events. A low, mournful tone that spoke of a fundamental failure. It was the sound of our physics bleeding away. We watched in horror as the damage spread. A great bite was taken out of our beautiful, star-catching sail. The cold reached the first of the city's spars. These were the structural bones of our home. They channeled energy and held the sails taut. The spar touched by the void storm went dark. Its internal light died. The hum of its power conduits fell silent. Then, like the sail, it began to unravel. Metal and crystal turned to dust. The dust turned to nothing. We tried to fire our defense lasers. The beams lanced out. They struck the swirling mass of the entity. And they were consumed. They added nothing to its mass that we could see. But they did not harm it. It was like trying to shoot a hole in the ocean. The void storm ignored our most powerful weapons. It continued its slow, inexorable feast. We were losing our city, piece by piece, and we could do nothing to stop it. Desperation is the mother of invention, or so the old saying goes. We were certainly desperate. Our conventional weapons were useless. Our defenses were being unmade. The void storm was chewing through the port-side sail array. It was slow, but it was relentless. We were a ship with a hole in its sail, adrift in a storm. In the depths of the engineering decks, a new idea was born. It came from a young technician named Kyle. He had been watching the energy readouts from the failed defenses. "It doesn't just block light," he said, his voice echoing in the tense quiet of the command center. "It absorbs the energy. It has a specific absorption spectrum. It's not perfect." The chief engineer, a woman with a face carved from granite, named Lyra, looked at his data. She saw it too. A tiny inefficiency. A specific frequency of light that the entity did not absorb as well. It was in the upper spectrum. A hard, powerful frequency close to gamma radiation. It was not a part of our normal city lights. We would have to create it. A plan was formed. A mad, frantic scramble of a plan. We would reconfigure one of our main navigation emitters. Instead of a broad, gentle beam for finding our way, we would turn it into a weapon. We would create a focused, high-frequency beam of pure light. A spear made of sunlight. The engineers called it the Sun Lance, a name with more hope than science behind it. The work was brutal. Engineers bypassed safety protocols. They rerouted power from entire city districts. Lights flickered and died across residential sectors. Gravity fluctuated, making people stumble in their homes. We were cannibalizing our own city to forge one single weapon, one single chance. Everyone knew the stakes. No one complained. They just held on and prayed the engineers were fast enough. The Sun Lance was ready. It was housed in the dorsal spire of the city, a place that now glowed with a terrifying amount of contained energy. On the bridge, we watched the void storm. It had consumed nearly a quarter of the port sail. The city was listing, its balance thrown off by the loss of mass. The time was now or never. "Fire," Captain Vorlin ordered. His voice did not tremble. The chief engineer, Lyra, slammed her hand down on the activation panel. A beam of incandescent white light erupted from the dorsal spire. It was not like our other beams. This one was sharp, a needle of pure, weaponized daylight. It screamed across the short distance and struck the void storm. For the first time, the entity reacted with something other than hunger. The point of impact flared, not with consumed light, but with a violent burst of energy. A screech echoed through our sensors. Not a sound, but a wave of pure psychic pain that made everyone on the bridge flinch. The void storm recoiled. It pulled back from the city's sail. A cheer erupted on the bridge. It was a raw, ragged sound of relief. We had hurt it. We had actually hurt the monster. The sun lance fired again. Another direct hit. The creature pulled back further, its shadowy form contracting in on itself. It was retreating. We had won. We had pushed back the darkness. But victory has a price. Lyra's voice cut through the celebration. It was grim. Captain, the spire is critical. The power conduits are melting. The energy required for the sun lance was too great. The weapon was destroying itself, and the district around it. We saw the reports flood in, a cascade of system failures, power burnouts, life support failing in the entire Spire district. Ceasefire, Vorlin said. The brilliant beam of the sun lance died. The silence it left behind was heavy. We had pushed the enemy back, but we had sacrificed a part of our city to do it. An entire district was now dark and cold. Its inhabitants were being evacuated to emergency shelters. We had won the battle, but the cost was staggering, and the war was far from over. The enemy did not flee far. It retreated to a safe distance, a place just beyond the maximum range of our new, self-destructive weapon. It stopped there, a brooding patch of darkness against the stars. It was no longer consuming our city. It was watching, waiting. It had learned. We watched it in return. Our sensors, now focused with fearful intensity, saw it changing. Its form was no longer a chaotic, swirling storm. It began to coalesce, to take on a more defined shape. It was adapting to what we had done. The spear of light had not just wounded it, it had taught it. The psychic screech it had released was not just a cry of pain. It was a broadcast, a message to itself. It was analyzing the attack. Our sensors picked up faint energy readings from within its mass. It was trying to replicate the sun lance frequency. It was attempting to understand our weapon, to immunize itself against it. We were in an arms race with a creature made of shadow. The mood in the city shifted from relief to a slow-burning dread. The monster was smart. It was a thinking, learning hunger. Our one brief victory had shown our hand. We had one weapon, and it was a costly, single-shot trick. The enemy now knew about it. The next time it attacked, it would be prepared. We had bought ourselves time, but we had also educated our foe. Our engineers worked frantically. They tried to repair the sun lance spire, but the damage was too severe. The conduits were fused, the focusing crystals were shattered. It would take weeks to rebuild, weeks we did not have. We tried to configure other emitters, but none had the power of the main navigation spire. We were, for now, defenseless again, and the creature knew it. We saw it test its new knowledge. A small tendril of darkness stretched out from its main body. It pulsed with a faint light, the same frequency as our sun lance. It was a copy, an imperfect one, but it was learning. The joke went around the engineering decks. At least it's not asking for the blueprints. Nobody laughed. The fear was too thick. The void storm was no longer just an animal. It was our student, and it was a very fast learner. The waiting was a form of torture. For 3 full rotations, the city held its breath. The void storm remained at a distance, a constant, silent threat on our screens. We worked. We reinforced what we could. We moved non-essential personnel to the city's core. We prepared for an attack we knew we could not stop. We were a city holding a broken shield, waiting for the sword to fall. Then it moved. It did not come for the damaged sails. It did not come for the spire where the sunlance had fired. It went for the heart. It moved with a new, terrifying speed. It ignored the outer city and drove directly toward the mainmast, the central spire of the Ethel, the core of our power grid and the anchor for all our primary sails. "It knows," Alara, the navigator, whispered. She was right. It had analyzed us. It had seen where our weapon's energy was drawn from. It understood our anatomy. It was not just a hungry beast, baiting at the edges. It was a hunter, going for the throat. All our defenses were pointed outward. They were useless against an attack aimed at our very center. The void storm struck the mainmast. This time there was no silent dissolving. The impact was catastrophic. The entity slammed into the spire with the force of an asteroid. The entire city shuddered. The deck plates bucked beneath our feet. Red alerts screamed from every console. The mainmast, the symbol of our strength, the heart of our home, was under direct assault. It did not eat the mast. It enveloped it. The darkness flowed over the glowing spire like black water. The light of the mainmast flickered. It struggled against the suffocating shadow. For a moment, it held, a beacon of defiance buried in an ocean of nothing. Then, with a final, agonizing groan that we felt in our bones, the mast went dark. The consequences were immediate. The power grid collapsed. Emergency lights flickered on, casting long, dancing shadows. The mainsails, their anchor gone, went limp. They flapped uselessly in the solar wind we could no longer catch. Our city, our proud star sailor, was crippled. We were adrift. We were bleeding light and atmosphere into the abyss. The great fall of the mainmast was not just a structural failure. It was the breaking of our spirit.